Okay, this chapter here is a straightforward chapter. It's not really difficult, but it's always handling the effect, direct or indirect, of the chemicals, toxic chemicals we are producing, and let those toxic chemicals, whether seeping into the oceans or seeping through the soil, or just evaporating in the air. So that's the whole thing. And this is the point here covered in this chapter. You can see. We'll talk what's the environmental health is all about. What risks should be worry us most? Emergent diseases. Those diseases happened long time ago, over 20, 30 years, or they are deleted from our dictionary as a disease, but then they come back again due to toxic chemicals vented into the air or seeped into the soil, and the trees is feeding them on them, and then we eat those trees, the veggies, or from those trees, then we get up all the fruits, then we get those in our bodies, correct? What are those factors that's involved in those making those chemicals to be very hazardous for our life? And what makes some chemicals very, very hazardous, and what makes them not hazardous or harmless? And what factors are influencing our perceived risk? So that's what's all about. We are talking about mostly about toxic materials. So if you look at here, environmental health, that's just a definition, and you will see in your quizzes, I'm using the textbook, the publisher quizzes, not my own. So I looked into those quizzes, and the quizzes you will see, the publishers like to have those quizzes mostly concentrated on the what? On the definition. We'll give you a definition, we'll tell you what is the definition, then the multiple choice A, B, C, D. So please make sure that you make a note of those definitions. That's the publisher quizzes. I'm not using my own, just to let you know. Those quizzes are based mostly, if you look at them, those are definitions. Does not look at what the cycle of phosphorus in the big questions. No, just a simple definitions, and then wants you to understand what's this definition all about. If you have those definitions handy, ready, then there's no problem. Then you will have those quizzes in your hand, no problem. But if you don't have them ready, and you start looking, and remember each question has 5 minutes, 5 minutes will be running out. You are looking between your papers, where is the right answer? You'll be running out of time. And you can just keep guessing what the answer is. So, health, well, health is always considered our really well-being, physically and mentally, in this life. That's what means healthy person. This person is healthy because he's physically and mentally stable, regardless, without any diseases or without any diseases affecting that person. That's a healthy person. Now, a disease is always it's an abnormal change in the body condition that impairs important physical or psychological functions. That's really true about disease. Any disturbance in the health and well-being, mentally and physically, of a human, called a disease. Any time, any disturbance of physical and mental status of a human, that's a disease. We don't have a physical disease, and no, we have non-physical disease, mental disease. You heard about mental diseases, which is in most time is the most difficult to heal. That's not my opinion. The doctor says, physician says, the physician say that mental diseases are difficult to deal with and very difficult to heal, compared with the physical one. The physical one, you go through surgery, you get it out, but the mental stayed there for you for many, many years, maybe to goes to up to your death, correct? So that's the disease. Mortality is meaning death. Mortal, meaning death. Immortal means none. This person is not dying. So immortal is the opposite of mortality. Morbidity means illness or sickness, correct? So please make a note. As I said, those are not my quizzes per se. Those are the publisher quizzes, and I was astonished they don't ask very difficult questions. They ask mostly definitions. Most of their questions are definitions. So before you quiz, look at the chapter, the concentrated PowerPoint, look at the chapter, all those definitions, keep them in handy. Whenever they ask, you know what they are, those definitions, correct? Environmental health, well, this is a combination of health and environment, as you can tell from the two words. Health, we define the health as a well-being of a person mentally and physically, and environment, whatever inside our system and surrounding our system. That's environment. So environmental health is a combination of the two words, which focuses on factors that cause diseases, including elements of natural, social, cultural, mental, technological, etc. in the planet we live in. Correct? So, and here is just some of the idea. Those are the sources are put the environmental health at risk. You can look at this. We have as you can see, start with the infectious diseases, agents, diseases, trauma, accidents. It give you just cars and airplanes. Accident can happen not only in cars and planes. You go up to the mountain and you get an accident. You slip from all the summit of the peak of the mountain to the bottom. That's an accident too. So, but accidents, this affect the environmental health. And toxin, those are compound, correct, produced by humans, and they have very negative impact on the health of the person, correct. And we will see some of those toxins here. Radiation, well, radiation coming from mostly not from direct from the sun, that's a UV, but radiation is coming out from the power plants, correct? Although it's limited, restrictive, because they are under surveillance by the industry, what they call industry laws and policies. They should not vent any toxic stuff, but sometimes accidents happen, and the filters get blocked, and high pressure will push those filters away, and all those toxic gases will come into the air. Pollution, whether in soil or in the soil or in the air, and then back to those are the major factors affecting the environmental health. Global disease burden is changing. The health organization used to focus on the leading causes of death as a measure of world health. So, and then you look at the whole thing and you calculate how many people is affected by what. So disability adjusted life years, that's an index to know how is a measure of disease burden. So the burden here, so let's put this one here. Put yourself a definition here. It's not there direct, but that's a definition here. So definition is, you have to define, and that's what I say. That's those quizzes of the publisher is really about this is indirect definition, but that's indirect definition. What is diseases burden? Well, A, B, C, D, and the answer is an index used to determine the disability, correct, adjusted through the life years. That's what it says here. It's an index. So those disabilities coming from, in fact, from diseases, correct? So, and that's what the disease burden is. Now we have chronic conditions such as the cardiovascular disease and cancer. Those are can be chronic diseases, but the well-being of humans now is very improved because we found a lot of medicine and drugs can fight those permanent chronic diseases. Those diseases are permanent; they can't go nowhere. So you live with them, but still you can. Our life expectation is very, very high because we are having new drugs fighting those chronic permanent diseases. And infection or infectious diseases, they're still there though. We're having contagious infectious diseases which can be transferred from human to human, from human to animal, animal to human, from trees to animal, animal to trees. Those are still with us. We are living with them. We are not out of those diseases. So here, guys, let me just this one here. Pathogens are diseases containing organisms. Okay, guys, pathogens are disease-causing organisms. So pathogens are really some chemicals that's really affecting, some chemicals, some toxic. They are causing diseases. So when I said pathogens, those are chemicals, man-made, human-made, and they have a bad effect on the health. Okay. Pathogens can include also viruses and bacteria that produce those chemicals. So those chemicals are man-made or can be just produced by viruses or bacteria, correct? And here you can look at the table here. You can look at the table. You don't have to memorize table. As I said, I can promise you this. Their quizzes is mostly definitions. They can make it bigger, but you can look at those number of diseases, correct, or mishaps like suicide. Suicide contribute to the index of the suicide. If you look, this is suicide. Yes, suicide is 86%. Whatever, not 80%. That's an index. So the index goes to 7,000, whatever. So the number of it is from lower 0 to all the way to 9,000 something, so or 29,000. So that's an index he has used to determine how frequent those mishaps can happen. Correct? The greatest loss of life from an individual disease in a single year was the great influenza pandemic on 1918. Well, the author is not looking at Corona time, correct? We lost millions of years, and that's done by a virus, correct? So you can add to yourself here you can add to this here COVID 2020. That's the major one. Measure at this, because we lost millions through the whole globe. Millions of years died because of this COVID 2020. So you can add to that. So not the great influenza. That's 1918. But then 2 years later, we got this virus called, Corona, or whatever the abbreviation that stands for. The COVID 2020 is the greatest by far, correct? Like compare the Middle Ages diseases, correct? happen, affecting millions of people. Emergent disease, as I told you, diseases, they are deleted from our dictionary. However, because of our producing a lot of chemicals, and some of those chemicals, they have side effects, those all deleted from our memory diseases, they are coming back, and they're called what at this time? Emergent diseases. So you have to know, now you have another definition. I'm just, every time I have definition, I remind you to put it aside. Maybe it will come there. So that's what I saw there. I went through most of their quizzes, and even the online assignments. They look most or less on the definition. So what's emergent disease? Those are all deleted diseases that's appearing back again. It can be not 20 years, but many years out, and we forgot about them. They are out of our memories. Now they are coming back because of the effect of toxic environment, toxic chemicals we are eating in our food or whatever from the soil coming or sieved into the soil. H1N1, new strain of bird flu. You heard about the bird flu, chicken flu. All those flus here is made by the viruses, correct? And those viruses tend to be every time resisting. As we will see here, every time they manufacture the way to resist any type of antibiotics or any type of chemicals to fight, so they stay there. So there have been at least 40 outbreaks of emergent diseases over the past 2 decades, including Ebola and Marburg fevers. Those are diseases are mostly, if you look at the notes there, mostly in West Africa, because they have their rivers contaminated. So they get their tap water from rivers, and that's the source of the contamination. So those are, and those viruses, they are resistant to they are living in this contamination, and yet this contamination is affecting humans, but not the viruses there. The virus is still alive, and those what they are, then contamination caused the whole thing. And here is they will tell you those emergent, infectious, contagious diseases, emergent contagious diseases all over the world, with the names of the country and the years it's happening, correct? So you can look at this. I'm not looking in details, but you can look at 2017. Those are recent years, not far away, like 200 years ago. Those are very recent. 2017, 2015, 2018. Those are very contagious diseases. We call them emergent because they were deleted long time ago, yet they are appearing back again, correct? Yet they are appearing back again, and we call them contagious emergent diseases. Just here a picture of the Ebola in West Africa. As I said, yes, any question? So this is just a picture of the diseases there, and this is very contagious, means it goes from human to human, or human to animal, animal to human. So it's that's what is really affecting the body fluids and the blood, correct? Those are called, Ebola is an example of emergent disease, was disappearing long time ago, but it's coming back due to contaminations, man-made contamination, nothing there. Factories in West Africa, factories, they are dumping, because there is no policies, no regulations, they are dumping all their waste chemicals inside the rivers, but then people are using those rivers for tap or drink. And that's the reason those diseases are coming back, because of the negligence, no policies, negligence of the of the industry over there. So time is up. Okay, I will wait here. And then I will see you next week.